Something I find quite strange about myself is that I've never been able to emotionally connect with women very strongly. Um, and maybe you can chalk that up to a lack of interactions in early life, but certainly later in life, the more interactions I had, the more it kind of reinforced the idea that I wasn't going to be able to connect with them on a romantic level. The one time when I did connect with someone romantically, where I really, really fell for them, was for a guy. And that didn't end very well for reasons outside of the purview of gender, but it was a very special experience nonetheless. And small crushes on people, they come and go. Those things are very, very rare for me. They almost never happen. I can only think of one very recent example. But when you think about, the idea of feeling for someone romantically, like you want to be with that person, that they're someone special to you, that you want to seek a life with them, not forever, but you want to seek a life with them of some kind, where it interrupts your daily activities because you feel something for them so strongly that your brain chooses to focus on that. I've only had that with one guy, and it was a guy specifically. And for a number of reasons, I don't think I could feel that way for women. I think, like, the kind of, and this isn't a sexist thing of trying to generalize people, but I think the kind of personalities that women have, the kind of interests that women typically have, not all, but typically, the kind of things that girls want to talk about and the sort of relationship dynamics that exist with them aren't really things that interest me. And I mean, aesthetically, like, the idea, there's certainly no sexual pleasure there, the idea of being with a girl. I don't find anything sexually pleasurable in that. I think vaginas are pretty gross, and I also think that the idea of getting into an intimate position with a woman like that would be pretty gross. So it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult for me to sit there and say, like, how would I develop some kind of romantic attachment to someone like this when I don't even think they're all that aesthetically pleasing, certainly not on a sexual level. And so I look back at the way that I've felt, the sort of alienation, the galvanization that I've felt towards girls in a sexual context or in a social context, not really wanting to talk with them, not really feeling like I'm able to connect with them on that level. And then I look at the polar opposite that I've had with men, where I do find them sexually attractive on some level. I have a really low libido. I don't, I'm not running out there pumping iron and wanting to jack off every single day. I jack off like a few times in a year. It's barely anything. I'm almost, I would say, functionally asexual, just because I think so little about it, and I don't consume pornography or anything like that. But when I have had sexual attractions, they've almost unilaterally all been for guys. And that's sort of a difficult thing to explain. Is that, what do you say to somebody when you just feel a certain attraction? I can appreciate a nice looking dress that someone's wearing. I can appreciate, nice looking hair. And I can even appreciate the idea of someone being a good person who is a woman. But that doesn't necessarily translate into social and sexual satisfaction on a purely romantic or sexual level. And so that's the core conflict for me, is that I look at myself and I have basically no interest in personal relationships. Definitely not with women, but not really for guys very much either. And I have no interest in looking at pornography. You know, the 3 or 4 times that I do jack off in a year, it's almost never to porn. I don't look at porn because I think it's gross. But there's been this yearning at times just to have a guy around, just around to cuddle with, to be able to just hang out with, and I think kisses are cute. Like, kisses are just a cute concept. The idea of, okay, I take my lips and I did that. It's an act of solidarity. It's a cute thing. Like the times in which I have gotten the most, what is the word you want to say, sexually gratified or had a strong amount of desire, it was pretty much always just for guys. And generally speaking, I don't get those feelings very often. It's very rare. But when it does, it's like an event. It's a special occasion. And I don't know if my libido is just genetically placed this way, or if I have some sort of long-term defect that I got from taking all of these medicines that I've taken for mental health issues. I have no idea. But I just find myself being more attracted to the sort of, to the kind of smooth, nice skin that males have, to the kinds of hair, to the shapes of the body. There's something about it, like, like skinny guys who are a bit more chubby, guys who, have a bit more muscle going on. I like all of it. I find all of it cute. And I don't really know what reason to give other than there's just a reaction that I have. Do you ever have those things where you have a emotional or physical reaction to it, but you don't really know why? Like throughout your life, you've just had this desire, this direction that you want to go in, that your instincts tell you to go in, but you don't know why you're going in that direction. That's kind of my relationship with the sort of, woman versus man dichotomy, is that I don't find women attractive. I've been in relationships with women before, but it was always a struggle. It was a big struggle for me to be able to be in relationships with them, where a lot of them ended up being on and off relationships, or just relationships that ended really fast. And part of it was because I really wanted to be isolated. This is true of just about every relationship I've been in. But the other part was the fact that I couldn't romantically or sexually connect. I didn't feel that. And even in situations where I was compelled to or forced to perform those kind of things, I found myself disconnected from it, not wanting to do it. I don't know what you would call that. Like, I tend to call myself asexual. Because my libido is really low and I don't really have a strong sense of sexual desire. I don't have much of a desire to be in any kind of relationship. But you could easily categorize me as kind of like an archetypical gay fellow who's just gone around and experimented with bisexuality as well. Like, I look at all of my interests, all the things I find cute. Like, when I was, 14 years old, I was really into reading yaoi manga, just because I thought the guys were so cute in them. One of the first times that I ever did jack off, getting a bit personal here, was to a yaoi hentai, and subsequently gay porn as well. And those were some of the few times in which I did. It was to those materials, is that I had gotten so excited about it that it was like an awakening, something that I had wanted to consume or had felt a strong desire towards for a very long time, but it only came out at that point where it was like, it was such a new and special thing to me that it was difficult to define why I felt such a strong desire for it in that moment. And as I've gotten older, that certainly went away. Back then, I wasn't super interested in it, but I had those moments. That were, I guess you could say they were very special. And so afterwards, it felt kind of dirty, like something I wasn't really supposed to do. And so I just kind of closed the book on that one, and I didn't really go back to any of those kinds of materials. But I found myself thinking about it. What if I had a boyfriend? What if I was in a relationship with a guy? And I found myself starting to develop feelings for people who, were at my school, who may or may not have been attracted to men. I just found myself feeling that way. And I never really had much of like straight guy. Oh no, I feel something for them. That doesn't never really happen to me very much. A few times, but I was never the kind of person who developed crushes. Very, very few. Very, very few. But there was always a level of physical attraction there. And I don't want to get into too many details because I'm going to make my younger self sound like a creep, creeping on people, looking around and this kind of thing. But I find the fact that the desire was so much more strong in comparison to the opposite sex. Very interesting. Very, very interesting that was the one that I grabbed onto more, whereas when I look at my desires towards women, they're basically not there at all. I find the vagina kind of gross. I find the other parts of them kind of gross. Aesthetically, they're pleasing. It's okay. Yeah, I get it that it's cute and everything, but it's not a sexual kind of cute. Even if you say someone's hot, it's more of an appreciation for what it is that they embody. It's not an endorsement of sexual attraction towards them or any sexual attraction towards them, which I don't really feel any. And I don't know if you can chalk it up to just having a really low libido, like I said that I do. I don't know what it is. But when I look throughout the course of my life, and I find when those sexual desires have been the most strong, it's pretty much always been for guys. And I've tried to reverse it several times to deny the feeling and to sort of put it inside, but I haven't been able to. It's just been something that's remained present there, no matter what I do. And so it's very, very strange. I don't know why. I don't know why it's been such a continuous element of my life. It's there's just not much that I can do about it. And I guess I'm blessed with the fact that I don't think about it constantly because I have a really low sex drive, and so it doesn't come up too much. But when it does, it's always for men. I find that very, very strange. And then when I look at the fact that like half the pictures on my computer are of just romantic, really, really romantic guys with each other, just hanging out with each other, and cute pictures. The fact that I was like really into Korean models for a while, and this kind of thing, I don't know. I just think it's weird, the sort of obsessive element of it, that, oh yes, I must find all of the cute boy images online and save them. Because there's a certain part of you that sort of feels good when you see them. I don't really get that as much anymore, just because I feel like a lot of my romantic spirit has deteriorated at this point. As time goes on, I only become a more emotionless star. But it's still there on some level. Every now and again, it reveals itself. My power level shows. I was gonna title this video why men are better than women, but I spent the entire video just kind of aimlessly being confused. I just like their personalities more. I gel with the personalities more, the kind of interests, the sort of emotions that would be required of one. I like the aesthetics. I like the way the skin feels, the way it feels kind of soft, and the sort of like the beating in your heart that you get when they touch you, and when they give you a hug. It feels more like there's something more there. Whereas when that happens to just any random girl, it's kind of like, whatever.